Me and Stivers and Stan were in Bob, and we were getting good. And then I got an offer to join Bud.
Oh, no, I absolutely felt terrible. Left out.
Right.
Yep.
And
then a year later, Stan joined
kind
the
of broke
band.
my heart.
Stan joined, so everyone's deserting John.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aw.
You fucking asshole.
If only John had been a member of the Grifters, we could have been like the Beatles. Well, we became the Grifters, and Stan joined the Grifters, and then John was like, "Fuck, am I the only one not being invited to join the band?"
Hey everybody, this is Dennis Black with the Black and Wyatt Records podcast. Join host Mike McCarthy and Kristen Hobbs in part 2 of a conversation with Grifters bass player Tripp Lamkins and Impala lead guitarist John Stivers as they continue to talk about their Memphis bands, this time with emphasis on Fraysia and the Total Strangers with bandmate Jared McStay. We'll close out the show with Fraysia's So It Ends. Now, let's get on with the podcast.
That's how it was for me and John. Like when we were in Bob, it was like we were becoming good musicians, but we didn't have anything to say.
Anything to write about. Yeah.
When we first discovered punk rock, it was like we enjoyed playing that way because it was a release.
Yeah.
But we didn't have anything to say.
But
we didn't become punk rockers.
Yeah, we were a little angry.
But that's the connection between comics.
We weren't even really that angry. We were just kind of geeks. But
we were angry geeks.
We
Angreeks.
Our introduction to punk rock was Repo Man, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And
Alex Cox.
yeah, and I thought punk rock was kind of hilarious. And we were a funny band in high school. We were always trying to make each other laugh. So I was like, oh yeah, I get it. Punk rock, it's fucking hilarious.
It wasn't about taking it up the ass.
I mean, it wasn't about taking anything seriously.
Except pinworms.
That's why I asked Kristen to be here today.
That was
But we knew
years down the line. Way before.
But we knew enough not to, as we discovered punk rock in high school, we knew enough not to become punk rockers. We admired it from afar. It was like, yeah, that's cool, and it's fun to play this way, but we're not going to become that. It wasn't until like the Replacements,
Sure.
and which the Replacements, to me, were funny. John and Stan and Harwell loved REM, and I didn't like REM. I thought it was I didn't think it rocked. I didn't think it was funny. But that led us to the Replacements because Peter Buck produced Let It Be. And when I heard Let It Be, I was like, oh.
Well, he played on I Will Dare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
I never found the Replacements funny. I just loved it.
What? Tommy gets his tonsils out, and Gary's got a boner.
I guess I'm looking back at it
The Replacements
as an
had
old man.
lots of different kinds of songs on their records. Let It Be had like Androgynous, Answer Machine, and
16 Blue.
yeah, and I related.
And they came to Memphis to record.
And they fucked up shows at the Incentive Club all the time. It's
Yeah.
like I related to the Replacements because they reminded me of Bob. They were funny and they weren't punk rock, but they kind of were punk rock.
But
They
I
were
just-
a huge turning point for me.
I read something on Facebook that Jeremy Scott had posted about where he said he can always listen to Husker Du because it matures with him, but he can't listen to the Replacements as much as Minnesota, punk bands go, because the Replacements maybe are, like you're saying, they're so specifically caught in our experiences growing up, whereas Husker Du are more abstract and wide open and
Replacements kind of refused to conform.
I don't know.
Sure.
And it was like,
Think about this. You listen to, especially for somebody like me, you listen to Swingin' Party
yeah.
as when I was 19, and you listen to it now as a 58-year-old man, it kind of rings a little different.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, now it's the most depressing song you've ever heard.
You bring the lampshade.
Yeah. I mean,
I had to think about that for a while, like bring a lampshade. Oh, you're wearing a lampshade. That's a cartoon version of being drunk.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
those songs that we used to listen to on spring break at the beach or whatever and think they were great. Now you listen to them and you go, God, have I become that person?
You talk about Here Comes the Regular and
Here Comes the Regular, and Swinging Party, all those. Those are the most depressing songs I've ever heard in my life.
No, but in 1984, when I'd moved here and I was incredibly homesick for a dirt road in Mississippi, probably because my mom had dinner at 6 p.m. And what was I doing? Getting dollar pizzas at Piggly Wiggly. So I would get in my Vet. I had a Vet.
Chevette or
Chevette, yes, a Chevette. And I would go home and I had my tapes, my cassettes. Husker Du, Zen Arcade. This was 84. This is all happening. Zen Arcade, Replacements, Let It Be, Reckoning, REM. And then I had a New York Dolls Swedish import that George had, which is fucking amazing.
That was the same thing that happened to us. We loved Rush, and Rush sort of peaked.
I never got into Rush.
Well, it's a kind of musician's band. We got into college in 1984, 85. Discovered weed. And I suddenly realized a lot of my taste in music was terrible. You guys got into REM, and we got into like The Cure and the Violent Femmes and the Smiths and Squeeze and Elvis Costello and the record store on Poplar that John Floyd used to work at.
Rare Records. Yeah.
John went to
Tom Graves' store.
John Floyd graduated from high school with me and Stivers. He was the coolest kid in high school, and he wanted to be the music writer for the Memphis Flyer. We started realizing there's a much bigger world out there, and realized, I love James Brown. I love the Everly Brothers. I love Dave Brubeck. I love music, so I gave up on everything that we listened to in high school.
Yeah.
And started listening to everything else.
And my knowledge of comic books or underground comics or whatever was expanding.
At the same time. It was like Fantagraphics.
Yeah. But somehow I only had so much money. Therefore, it was going to go to comics. It wasn't going to go to Rare Records necessarily.
No, I didn't expand my record collection, but I was listening to more like college radio. When we were playing together in Bob, we never played cover songs growing up. But once we got into the late 80s, John was working at Camelot, and John would come to band practice and be like, hey, let's play the Cramps. Let's play some Cramps covers.
Kristen was doing time at Cats and various...
Until 90, though.
Yeah, a little bit later.
Did you work with Baker?
Oh, yeah.
Baker Yates?
Absolutely. Well, yes. First I started at Summer Avenue.
Where was he, on Union?
Yeah, but we all got in trouble and got shipped over to Union. Mark Svets was my manager.
Really? Mark Svets was in a Hot Monkey. I played with him in a Hot Monkey. But before that, what was he in before that? But he went on to form Joint Chiefs and the Powers That Be. Mark's great. He's a great bass player. We played together.
Where is he now?
He's a tattoo artist. Mm-hmm. I worked at Camelot Music for 6 months in the Raleigh Springs Mall with John.
I worked there for 10 years.
10?
When I worked there, it was me and John and Dan Ball.
Dan Ball worked there?
Yeah. That's where me and Dan Ball met.
Okay.
And we're still friends. Dan comes over to my house every Sunday night.
Yeah?
We're great friends. And also, we're cousins. We found out we're cousins. From Arkansas.
Wow.
And they just...
I found out more and more. So we haven't even gotten into the 90s yet.
No, but
we have like 2 hours to go.
What time is it?
I don't think
we have about 30 minutes to go.
Oh, okay.
But
real quick.
But here's the thing. Everybody knows about the 90s, don't you think? I mean, were you guys?
You got to mention it.
Grifters, Impala. Everybody knows it, and it can be easily found. I just said the
word. We're
word.
supposed to be talking about Impala.
Anyone that cares.
When did Bob end?
That's a good question.
When
did Bob
end?
Yes, let's talk about Bob.
Our band?
Yeah. Well, someone might hear this and go,
we started a band.
Bob who?
We started a band in high school.
Bobsled Hyena.
They may think of Bob Hanks.
I remember
Bob Hanks, who filmed all of our shows back in the day.
Right.
What happened to Bob?
What happened was in the 80s.
What about Bob?
Me and Stivers and Stan were in Bob, and we were getting good. And then I got an offer to join Bud,
a band called Bud.
Originally was Bud.
Okay.
And there is a connection there between Bob and Bud.
That's confused me a little bit.
I can explain it, but that'll be another 2 hours.
I know.
Do it quick.
We need a dry erase board.
Give me the teaser.
Let me just
Let me just write this.
Strings and pins.
People want to know.
Okay, let me do this in 30 seconds. In the late 80s, I met a girl named Jean while I was working at Memphis Comics and Records. Gene was going out with Dave Schaus. Dave was playing in a band called Thinkers Incas. Thinkers Incas was breaking up, and Dave was thinking about starting a new band. Gene said, "Oh, you should hook up with Dave. You guys have similar taste in music." Gene used to come out and hang out at Bob practice because I had a big crush on her. She was beautiful.
What's her last name?
Thompson.
Okay.
And she was the little sister of Milford Thompson, who was the lead singer of the Modifiers, who were kings of the Tennis Club. So when Milford's little sister Jean entered the scene on the Tennis Club, it was like, whoop, look out. Milford's little sister's on the scene, and she's trouble. So Jean is sort of the one who
She had a little bob. She didn't have a beehive.
She was sort of
If I remember correctly.
Faye Dunaway's hot daughter. I had a huge crush on Jean, and
you did Stivers. You didn't know Schaus.
No.
Not at
Okay,
the moment.
okay.
At that time, I
Yeah.
did not.
But unbeknownst to me, Jean gave a tape of Bob to Dave.
She's just working her little butt off, isn't she?
Yeah. And I was like, why did you give a tape of us to Dave? She was like, well, he loves your band, and he really loves that name Bob. And I think he wants to steal it. I was like, what? So like 2 weeks later, two weeks later, Dave calls me. He gets my name from Gene. He's like, "Hey, I'm looking for a bass player."
2 weeks later.
2 or 3 weeks later, he's like, "I'm looking for a bass player. I'm having no luck." He auditioned 3 bass players. I do actually kind of know who. Those guys
do you?
No, wait a minute.
Who were they?
Just give us their initials. Just give us their initials.
I mean,
What
come
what
on.
Dave said was like they were too professional. They were too slick. And I find out he's calling his band Bud. So we'd already influenced the band before I even joined the band. And then I just met with Dave. He called me, and he lived right around the corner from where I lived with Harwell.
Okay.
And he played me 4 songs: Black Fuel Incinerator, Thumbnail Sketch, Daydream Riot, and Hey Jack. And I joined the band. Because I thought this will be good for Bob. This will be good education for me. This will help Bob out.
But what did Stivers think?
He didn't like it.
Oh, no, I absolutely felt terrible. Left out.
Right.
Yep.
And
And then a year later, Stan joined
kind
the
of broke
band.
my heart.
Stan joined. So everyone's deserting John.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aw.
You fucking assholes.
Yep. And I felt it. And I always wanted to get John into the band because I felt like John is the fucking best guitarist in Memphis.
Sure.
Which I wasn't.
John Floyd
I
called him the best guitar player in an article that I reprinted in the Teenage Tupelo book.
No, I still
And
think John's the best guitarist in Memphis.
Oh, God.
I've known John
Fuck
since
up.
we were, 8 years old, and I've always thought he's the best guitarist in Memphis.
I think there
And
are-
I've always been trying yeah, if only John had been a member of the Grifters, we could have been like the Beatles.
But now you're in a band called Bud, but you're not in Bob anymore.
Well, we became the Grifters, and Stan joined the Grifters, and then John was like, "Fuck, am I the only one not being invited to join the band?" And I kept trying to get John into the band. John did always guest star on all the Grifters records, and he even wrote Grifters riffs and contributed lyrics.
Okay. Which ones?
He wrote the lyrics to John wrote the opening riff to Junkie Blood.
It took me months to come up with that lick.
Stivers also contributed lyrics to the band. I Want to Spread You Out Like a Dead Bat. That was Stivers.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Yeah, it was
The entire
really deep.
The entire lyric was, "I want to spread you out like a dead bat, wrap you up in cellophane, baby, and sell you for parts in a medical show."
Wow.
And I thought that
I
was
had no clue what was going on.
that was from a Bob practice, and I thought it was so fucking funny. I played it for Scott and Dave, and they were like, "God damn!" And at this point, you guys are friends. But Dave latched onto it, and he stole the lyric.
All right, so we've
Wow,
advanced
okay.
2 years of you humiliation watching Bob become Bud, become the Grifters.
planning their murders for leaving me behind, which I took them to all their heights of their fame.
Shangri-La recordness.
At the
Yeah.
Antenna Club.
Scott Bomar used to ride. He would ride his skateboard up to the Raleigh Springs Mall when I was just the assistant manager, and there was a security guard up there that would chase him through the mall, even though he was just carrying his skateboard and like yell at him, "No skateboards in the mall!" And the guy would follow him into my store, and I would tell him, "Like, man, get the fuck out of here! This is a customer of mine." Bomar would come in. I call him Bomar. He's
We call you Stivers.
It's so
yeah.
disrespectful.
So I call him Bomar, and Bomar would come in, and I was ordering a bunch of illegal imports at the time.
You mean American music?
Yeah, stuff that you could get anywhere in the world. But hey, my boss was like, yeah, get it. So I was ordering all these illegal imports on CD, and he would come in and he was buying all these Metallica illegal imports. And
really?
yeah. This is Bomar. I think I just got married. I just met Bob Angst.
Yeah.
Like pretty much like maybe about the same time. But we were flipping. He was just flipping through CDs, and he saw Travis Womack, Bear Family CD, and he's like, "Oh, I've got this on a 45. It's my mother's." And we started talking about that, and he started talking about how much he liked instrumental music, and I was really into Link Ray and that Travis Womack, of course.
And that was recorded next to Zinni's.
Yes, it was.
Old
right there
Zinni's.
with Roland James
Korean
at
nail
Sonic,
place now.
Sonic
Isn't that
Studios.
crazy?
So
Great
we
nail
we
place.
bonded together. So here's this. I was. It's hard to believe because I'm so much more handsome, but it's hard to believe that Bomar is 7 years younger than I am, and so is all the other members of Impala. But we hit it off. I was just like, here's this young kid, and he likes all this stuff, and he's listening to Metallica.
Was Scott in Pez at that point?
Yeah, he
Scott
was.
was
Can
still-
I add something to the
Scott
story?
was still in Pez.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Make it short, but
Bomar-
go ahead.
You know me. You know me.
Don't talk about comics.
Actually,
Sal
does-
Buscema came in, and
okay, well, you're the one talking about. Okay, Grifters played a show with Pez at the Antenna Club, and it must have been an all-ages show. But Bomar and Goggins came up to me at that show, and they were like, "Hey, you know Stivers, don't you?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's my best friend." He's like, "He's good. He's good on guitar."
Right.
And I was like,
Perfect.
"Yeah, he's like the." I said he's the best guitarist in Memphis.
I wasn't
No, you were, and you still are.
for 2 weeks.
And they were like, "Is he cool to be in a band with?" I was like, "Yeah, he's the best." And like I guess they basbasically were
They
saying
were trying to vet me. They were vetting me.
Yeah, they were vetting you.
I'm gonna
Grifter
beat
approved.
the fuck out of them next time I see them.
and I swear to God, I want to kind of get your confirmation on this. I think they were like 16 years old.
Yes, they were 16 or 17.
Well, no, when
It
these
was already
guys
in the works, but like I vouched for John, and then like John joined Impala, and his first show, you had your back to the audience the entire time, which is what I did when I first joined.
like
Bud.
Morrison.
I was had such stage fright.
Oh yeah.
I had my back to the audience for the first year of being in Bud, because
Well, how long was Bud before Grifters?
about a year.
Not very long.
Yeah. Stan joined the band about a year and a half
So
after I
so
joined.
Bud was like 1990.
89.
89. When Impala started coming over, they needed a place to practice, and Kim and I, we owned a house. We had a garage. And so, boom, they're practicing in the garage, and the neighbors didn't care.
I didn't know this.
And this was in 91.
I thought you started off with Bob Banks' place.
No, we that's where we graduated.
So
to.
I was producing a film and co-starring in it called Garotica, which Hugh Gallagher in Centralia, Illinois had come down to make this gore film, and he was unable to make the gore film in the Midwest. And he's like, and I contacted him through a magazine, a gore magazine called Gore Gazette, and he's like, "You mean you can get people to do this weird stuff in a movie?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think so. We do it every day." And he's like, "On camera?" And I'm like, "Well, let's see." And so then he brings this Getty Chasin chick in, and she's the star of the movie. She does the weird shit. So basically it was Rod Thomas, me, George from the Rockroaches, and at Rod Thomas's mother's house, where I first laid eyes on Bomar at some party. in the late 80s, early 90s, where Bomar at that point was wearing a beret and just hanging out in the corner on a cluttered pile of mess. Impala was coming over when they still had the high school haircuts, except for you, which you were 8 years older.
Seven
Years older. So
I was already married.
I remember them sitting in my room where I was drawing Kid Anarchy and Bang Gang and all these other things. And Scott was very, worldly, even though he's super young and all that. And I'm like, you guys practice in my garage? Sure. So then they wound up, you guys played, your very first Impala show was in our living room because Hugh Gallagher had come down to meet the actors from Garotica, and y'all put on your very first show, like a soft opening, in the living room of my house. And then later your first show was at the Garotica premiere.
I remember that.
So it was Garotica. It was all about the freaking Garotica thing. But at some point I told Scott.
I have the poster framed in my little.
Yeah, me with my
room.
Robert De Niro taxi driver Mohawk.
Yeah, with your
But
Mohawk.
the thing about Scott that was so cool was I had the inkling that I was going to make the next film. And maybe I didn't know it was Teenage Tupelo at the time. But I asked Scott, I'm like, if I make a film, will you just score the whole thing, your band, Impala? Will you just do that? And he's like, yeah. And then sure enough, I don't know how much time passed, 2 years?
4 years.
Something, 4 years.
Damn
Amazing.
Elvis was before that.
Yeah,
right.
That
Well,
was
Scott's in that.
Oh.
But boom,
96.
suddenly Scott goes through on his promise, and you all go through on it, and I really appreciate that. That was amazing. And of course, Scott said it was the greatest Impala record, which I think he was just saying that.
I think that's Rancho Reverbo.
Selecta Hits.
But now Scott's.
They had a Selecta Hits
Scott's
contract.
a Grammy Award winner now.
Don't you have to pay for those?
I guess that's why I didn't get one.
When I buy beer, and I have 2 of them at home, I have 2 tall boys of Coors Light. I like my beer to be just beer flavored.
Stupid beer?
Water. I drink whiskey.
No, right. I know that.
Can they see this?
Do you drink scotch?
No.
So
God,
why not?
Because it tastes like shit. I mean,
what does it take to be a scotch lover? I've never quite figured that out.
Fucking blowhard. I mean, I don't know. Somebody that likes drinking stuff that tastes like dirt. Don't get me started.
Why do you think that taste developed to begin with? Why is it so expensive even?
The same reason you like IPAs, right?
Sure.
And I'm not knocking you guys for liking it, but that stuff tastes like shit as well.
You don't like IPA?
No. Fuck no. It's terrible.
But you like to drink more than 1 or 2 or 3.
Beers?
Well,
no. Well, tonight I've had 3 of these just
Have you
because
now?
I ran out of this.
I just can't. I can't. I've never been a drinker, and so if I'm going, and
I have a feeling that I will be stopping totally really soon.
fall over on the table,
Yeah.
your head will hit the table.
Well, hopefully, I've been told before.
It took me decades to figure out that I wasn't a drinker, the hard way, because, we all go out and socialize. And
It took me decades to become a drinker. In my 20s, the teens, and probably until my late 20s, I didn't drink at all.
Really?
No, I didn't start drinking until my late 20s or early 30s.
So you got married?
That has nothing to do with it. I got married when I was 24. My wife doesn't drink.
At all?
See? She every now and then she'll have a margarita or something like that.
And you hate margaritas?
No, I mean, yes, I can't stand them.
What do Impala drink? So
What does Impala drink?
Start with you.
Well,
And I know you're the whiskey guy.
no, Justin and I both.
Well, I don't know what Justin.
He always has Maker's Mark.
I love Maker's Mark if I'm going to drink
That
whiskey.
is that used to be my go-to, but you could go buy a fifth of it for $19. Now you can't.
Do you wish you played more? Do you always try to play guitar every day when you drink, or do
I
you
am
connect the two
absolutely
together?
anxiety-ridden.
Yeah, me too.
And anxious
Me too.
every day of my life. It has nothing to do with not playing guitar.
Right, but does playing guitar alleviate it?
No.
No?
I go look at my guitars and just want to douse them in lighter fluid,
Kerosene?
And, just like fuck them.
And you're like, hey, I could just drink this.
I used to. Well, it may come to that if Missy, if when I get home and there's not one more of these left,
Oh,
man,
God.
there's going to be some kerosene
Lord,
drinking going on. So there's just not much going on anymore, so I don't play that much.
We're trying to get back on the ball. I would love it if we could get Bob back together. Our practice space is in a warehouse, and if it's cold outside, it's colder in the warehouse. And if it's hot outside, it's hotter in the warehouse. So we can only practice in the fall and the spring. And the fall and the spring...
For 10 days at a time.
And the fall and the spring keep getting shorter every year. So we just can't get any momentum going on. But right now, it's like the Grifters aren't really happening. Impala happens whenever it happens. And Impala has... But with part of the reason we're here is to promote the new Impala record. What's the name of the new record? Instrumendio...
I don't know.
Instrumendio Musicalia.
Wait, is this new stuff or just... But just online, not as vinyl? Or
No,
anything?
it's on vinyl.
Is it really? Okay.
You can find it online, though. It's like on Bandcamp.
Well, you sent me a link.
All the songs,
It's great, though.
They put everything, they messed up the song titles.
Oh.
So now, and I don't even know.
Italians.
I don't know the names of...
They who?
I think there's... It
Italians.
came out... I think it was...
Why can't they stick to spaghetti?
Portugal. It was either Spain,
Portugal,
or... I don't know.
We're going to get to the bottom of this.
I don't... Yeah.
Wait, well, hold on. Is
let me know
is
when you
Bomar
do.
pissed?
No.
Okay.
We're actually not very happy with the sound quality of the vinyl. If you listen to the original recording that we did, it's really good. I think so.
Okay.
But when it was pressed, I don't know what they did. They just fished plastic out of the ocean and pressed it on that. It's a really cool looking record.
Why are you so disconnected from it?
He's
'cause it
involved in it. He's writing songs.
No, because it took like 2 years from recording it to make it happen. We played a show maybe Christmas of the year before last.
Okay.
Somewhere around there at DKDC.
Okay.
I'm happy that Impala still exists.
Right.
Well,
when John joined Impala, I was so fucking happy because when Stan and I joined the Grifters, John kind of got left out of it, and I think he was a little like, well, "What the fuck, man?" And then, not too long after that, he joined Impala, and then it was great. It was like all of a sudden, like the Grifters were a happening thing in the '90s, and the Simple Tones and.
They no longer had to feel
The Compulsive Gamblers, the Oblivions.
But everybody had
Impala.
such a different sound too.
Right, and the '90s were such an interesting time for Memphis because there was just so much different stuff going on. Yeah. I mean, Impala was like surf music, Grifters or whatever we were.
We're not surf, sort of.
Growing up playing together, and Bob was a power trio who was always in search of a front man. And for a while, Scott Taylor was our front man for about 6 months.
Yeah, he was.
And Scott was great because he improvised all the lyrics. And Bob was all about improvisation. So when Scott was in the band, he improvised all the lyrics. And we actually played a couple shows together at the Loose End. And the last version of the Simple Ones was me and Stan playing with Jared. And my mission statement was to play the old Simple One songs the way they were originally recorded. And but Jared was kind of like...
That would never happen with Jared.
Yeah, Jared was always kind of like always unsatisfied with his everything he'd done. He always wanted to rewrite the songs and everything. We just became great friends immediately. And John also, I guess I kind of introduced you and Jared to each other, and John and Jared became like guitar bros. And I had a front row seat just like watching these guys come up together. And then in the late 90s, Grifters broke up, and Paula kind of ended, Simple Tones kind of ended. So we started a band called The Total Strangers, and we probably only wrote about 9 songs together. We actually did a little tour together. Went to Chicago and stuff.
I didn't write anything. I just played guitar.
It was fun.
You and Jared wrote all the songs.
Yeah.
Except for one. I did that instrumental.
Savage Night.
Yeah.
You can find it on YouTube.
We're going to play it here in a second.
But I loved the Simple Ones, and I wanted to just like reproduce those songs. But it always kind of came to an end, like around 1997, and the Grifters came to an end, and Impala kind of was drawing to an end. So we started a band called the Total Strangers, and I would have called the band Bob, because we were always looking for a front man, and Jared was the perfect front man. Because I don't know, John and I didn't want to write lyrics or be the lead vocalist or anything like that. Mm-hmm. Jared was like the perfect front man. So when Total Strangers got together, it was like I thought it was fantastic. So there's a song called Netherworld, which everyone agrees is Jared's best song. It's just great, and whenever I hear it, it makes me cry. beautiful interplay of John and Jared's guitars, and I didn't do anything. I sat back and just like played nothing, and it's beautiful. So much of the stuff that we did with Jared and Fraysia was just like, it's sort of like, I don't know, like Calexico, or it's just instrumental. It's sort of like Impala, but it has a little bit of a desert feel to it, or a New Mexico. I don't know how to describe it. You think about Impala as being an instrumental band, a surf band, and Fraysia was kind of like that. But it was, I don't know. I thought
to writing any lyrics.
No, it was right. If we had, it would have been a great band. I just always thought like it needed beautiful vocals to sit on top of it.
That Jared would have sang.
At the time, Jared was kind of like, I don't know. He had some ideas for lyrics, and there were ideas there, but like we didn't really follow through on them. But they're beautiful. They're beautiful songs. They're beautiful instrumentals. Sure. Shelby Bryant was part of the band for a long time.
Yeah.
There's lots of stuff we did with Shelby Bryant that's like fantastic.
Wait, so is this stuff on vinyl? Any of it?
No, there's a Bandcamp page.
Yeah.
And I have a SoundCloud page.
The Total Strangers, there's a single out that never was released. So
yeah,
there's probably
look up. You can go on YouTube and look up Total Strangers, Netherworld, and a song called Savage Night.
We need to start, Dennis. We need to start like having links in the description about stuff, because that we're just sort of evolving the podcast. But a lot of podcasts, direct you to the description where things are. We don't do that enough.
Yeah, and we're not making any money off of it. We don't care.
No. I just but
you're not.
But like it's like you're talking about a lot of now at the end of the podcast, backloading it with a lot of cool stuff that we want to hear. So instead of sprinkling it throughout,
I'd rather you play music than just have us talking about comic books.
Well, but listen, and that's good, and it's noted, and we'll totally put the links in, and I'll play some of this stuff. I did want to mention, though, that you and John have come out on a piece of vinyl in the last 3 months, the Super Starlet AD LP.
I don't think I'm on that.
You are. You showed up at Scott's studio above Walgreens on Main Street.
Yeah, by the map room.
Yep, and you played on one or two things and John played a couple things. And I came up with the names for them, and Chaputa, the Portuguese record label, just put it out on vinyl, and I owe you a copy of that.
Did you give me?
I did. Didn't I give you one?
Hell, I don't know. I don't even have a copy of our Impala's latest.
Right.
I gave them all away.
Well, I didn't even know that was out. But anyway, so that just came out, and I'm sorry I didn't bring a copy. But yes, it took 25 years for it to come out, and luckily there was one master. There's always the story of the one master that's left. And then it gets a scratch on it. And I'm like, oh, my God, how am I ever going to have this entertained by a European label? And then, of course, my friend in Connecticut who keeps all my stuff on a RAID drive, he's like, oh, I've got a beautiful copy of it all by itself. And I'm like, so it was mastered by Jesse Mansfield and put out on Chaputa.
Well, John and I are still trying to work together. Like I said, when the weather permits, we're...
It's crazy. We're
Bob,
a fair weather
Bob
band.
is still a band. Me and John and Stan.
Well, okay.
Bob is still a band, and we're still going to try to do something, but we have no idea how it's going to turn out.
Well, Kristen and I are going to put
We're
our
not
heads
giving up,
together.
though.
We're going to put our heads together and figure out where John's residency is going to happen and when it's going to happen. And I would say that John would be a fool not to have you come along for it and
I'm down for
set in on some of this.
I'm not doing
I
nothing.
would definitely do that, but you asked me to bring people in that I don't normally play with.
What?
Whoa.
You did ask me. You said
Mike.
you
I'm
need
excluded
to bring
from
in
that list.
folks
Mike,
that
why'd
Don't
you say
listen
that,
to me.
Mike?
You actually listening?
like maybe you and
I would love to hear like John play with all the best guitarists in Memphis, like Steve Selvage, John Paul Keith, or something like that. I think John's the best
committing
guitarist in Memphis.
suicide
Oh
if
my
I had to
God.
play with those guys.
Well, I will.
I'm not giving a hyperbole, but John is like one of the best guitarists Memphis has ever produced.
No, you're right. And we interviewed Steve Selvage a few weeks back, and I was thinking for the intro that Dennis will record, Steve Selvage is really the greatest guitar player to come out of the 80s punk rock scene. But I would put you in a different category of being the greatest guitar player to come out of something that was maybe a little later than that that was more the indie or the alt scene that was more coming into its own in the 90s?
As long as you put me in some narrow category, I'm okay with it. But I don't I don't like to be. I don't want to be compared to.
Well, you can't be
somebody
compared.
Like Steve Selvage.
You're
or Whittemore or any of those guys. They're all those guys are multi-dimensional. I'm not.
I'll tell you a true
one-trick
story.
pony. I've played.
Well, you have
one thing,
But
I'll tell you a true story.
So does
I
Link
went
Ray,
to see.
for that
I
matter.
went to see Impala
It's very true.
record at San Philip Studio with Roland James producing, and I think it was Rancho Reverbo.
I've got a photograph of you and Andrea for the Teenage Tupelo recordings.
There's a picture of me and John at that recording session at Phillips recording.
Yeah.
And Roland James is producing, and there's a picture of me and John. It's on my Facebook page, but I'm hanging out with Roland James, the legendary Roland James. While they're recording like Anna Vienna, like the greatest Impala song of all time, and John's like ripping this guitar solo, and I look at Roland James, I was like, "Fuck, god damn!" And Roland James looked at me, he's like, "John's like the best guitarist I've ever worked with."
At the time. Now, Roland, he was great. The greatest compliment. Oh, the greatest compliment I ever got. We were recording. I think it was Teenage Tupelo.
Tomb of the Tupelo Twin or something?
And basically I recorded almost everything on there but the drums. And Roland, he actually recorded the bass.
You play piano too?
I think so, yeah. And then, of course, Goggins, he did the little claps and all that stuff.
Yeah, the arrangement.
Yeah, no, actually Roland arranged that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
So we were sitting in the control booth, and it was just he and I. I don't know where the rest of the guys went, but we were mixing it. And, Roland, he would sit way back in his chair. He was a big guy. And he looked over at me as we're running a mix through, and he said, "John, if this was 1950s, you'd have a #1 hit on your hands." And that's the last time I ever heard anything positive said about my music. Just kidding.
Bullshit.
You guys have all said
Bullshit.
No, I
Come
take that
on.
back. It was actually the greatest compliment I've ever received from.
Get this man another Jim Beam airport size.
Yeah.
Land an airplane in the backyard.
Anyway,
not a
Just an
helicopter.
airplane bottles.
that was the moment.
I don't care what happens. I want to see you in a
No, you
residency. That sounds so fake official or whatever.
Yeah. Oh.
At some place.
What
where
about the
there's-
Ramada Inn out on Airways?
I wish the bimbo was still here for you, my friend.
Let's do it.
But
3 Jills
and
a
I want to
Jack?
see Tripp there. I want to see a plethora of
There's 3
people
Jacks and a
that are
Jill.
Oh,
Memphis centric people, a plethora, and I want to see you put something together. I want to see you play. Let us know what you're doing. We got to wrap it up.
Yep.
Kristen, love you.
Love you.
We got to let
we
Dennis.
all love Kristen.
Dennis has got to perform surgery in the morning.
I know. We have kept him up.
On all of us, he's performing surgery.
And-
on all of us.
Let's go jam at the surgery tomorrow morning.
Right.
All right, would be like the bimbo.
Spoon man.
I've heard worse. Says Dennis.
Our next album.
Any famous last
In
words?
the operating room.
Um,
I'm gonna wrap you up like a dead bat.
Oh.
Oh, Stivers.
Ouch.
That was a line that Stivers came up with.
what about beehives?
Penworm.
Pinworms.